Sacco and Feliz, New York and New Jersey's premier attorneys at law. Their team brings decades of experience across a wide range of practice areas. Whatever life brings, they're your legal team. From everyday matters to complex cases, they've got you covered with the experience you need and the results you want. Because when life gets complicated, they make it simple. SaccoFeliz.com. SACCOFILLAS.com. 2 C's, 2 L's.
Listen, all you New Yorkers. Excuse me, taxi.
Okay, we're looking around.
This is the 77 WABC minicast.
Sunday morning. Well, it's Catholic Easter. It's Passover. We all want to live longer. With us today is, with his nickname, Live Long and Prosper, Dr. Peter Michalos. And tell us what you have in mind so we can live long and prosper.
Well, today, John, we're going to talk about a very important topic, and the number one utilizer of energy in our bodies is our brain. It's an extremely metabolic area, and what feeds our brain? Blood flow feeds our brain. And I was recently talking to a nationally renowned neurosurgeon, Dimitri Sagunas, at George Washington University in D.C., and he was saying that the nutrient of the brain is our blood, and everything gets delivered through blood flow, and blood flow is extremely important to the brain, and many things can happen with the brain vasculature. And some interesting studies that came out, and one of them published in March 5th, 2026 in the Journal of Cell, found that when we exercise, the liver produces a chemical called exerkine. It's also called GPLD1, and when those when we exercise and that GLPD1 increases, it actually rejuvenates the blood-brain barrier function, and it helps reduce Alzheimer's disease pathology, as was noted in the mouse model. So exercise creates this liver exerkinase, and it reverses aging and helps reverse Alzheimer's, and it improves memory, and it also helps to target the brain blood vessels and actually helps increase blood flow to feed the brain. And basically there's an exercise liver to brain axis that we're starting to understand, and they never really knew how it worked, but exercise reverses the cellular and the molecular hallmarks of brain aging. And there's an area in our brain called
Let's go over that one more time, because it's how important it is.
Yeah.
Say that last couple of sentences again.
The exercise reverses cellular and molecular hallmarks of brain aging. So basically, exercise turns on this chemical exerkine, and there's an area of our brain called the hippocampus region of the brain, which is very important for memory, and it's very sensitive to the aging process, and it's sensitive to losing blood flow. So more physical activity, lower risk of dementia. But now they actually have, the chemistry behind it. We talk about, exercise is good for you, but now, we know. And when you measure the plasma levels, which is the levels of these chemicals inside the bloodstream in sedentary mice, and if you give them blood from a mouse that does a lot of exercise and goes on the wheel, and you give it to a sedentary mouse, that mouse gets better. So those chemicals are in the blood, in the plasma, and the beta amyloid plaques, which are associated with Alzheimer's, started getting better when they gave a blood transfusion to those mice. So that means that these exercise chemicals are very important, and they reverse memory loss in the aging Alzheimer's model mouse, and it has a great potential for future treatments. In addition, they also found the time of the day that exercise is more effective, and they found in a March 2026 study, again, all this stuff we talk about here is hot off the press, exercise between 7 and 9 a.m. is much better to lower the risk of things like obesity, type 2 diabetes, heart disease. It actually drops your risk by 30%, and again, indirectly, that also helps to prevent Alzheimer's. And the other thing is that it basically, the morning exercise jump-starts your metabolism, and it boosts insulin sensitivity, and it basically improves blood flow. And the other thing that we now know improves blood flow was nitric oxide. Nitric oxide is what's inside blood vessel that causes them to dilate and produce more blood flow. That's how things like Viagra work, by increasing blood flow. And interestingly, they found that Viagra, which increases nitric oxide, also helps reduce the chance of getting Alzheimer's, which is pretty wild. But the other
that
good
is
thing
wild. I mean,
is
there any food that increases nitric oxide?
Yeah, there's a whole list of food, and number one on there is, of course, green leafy vegetables, that like arugula, spinach, kale, lettuce, cabbage, and then you have beets, of course, which not only by dilating the blood vessels, beets can lower blood pressure. And I know if I take a beet capsule, it can drop my blood pressure in an hour by sometimes 10
I'm going to tell
millimeters
you
of mercury.
one better. Peter, I'm going to tell you one better. When I usually take 2 blood pressure pills a day, one in the morning, one at night. If I eat beets, I only need 1.
Exactly, absolutely. And a little bit of garlic also lowers it, putting a little bit of lemon in your water. And also pomegranate has been found to increase the bioavailability of this nitric oxide, and also a little bit of dark chocolate. Now we know why. It actually boosts nitric oxide. And watermelon helps produce something called L-arginine, which becomes nitric oxide. And that's why they call watermelon the Viagra food, because it actually helps improve blood flow. So this is all fascinating that we know how important
it is.
Blood
We're
flow
moving. Would you say we're moving at warp speed on learning all this stuff?
Yeah, no, absolutely. And that other study we talked about, where they found that the Alzheimer's brains had the natural lithium orotate that's found in like spring water, not the psych med lithium carbonate, that was like found to be 0 in patients with Alzheimer's. And now many doctors are looking at the research and might start giving microdoses of lithium orotate to people with memory loss and Alzheimer's, because it seems to be an essential element that's missing in those patients. So blood flow and feeding the brain is very important. And keep listening to WABC for more health tips on how to live long and prosper, and happy Easter, Passover, and whatever anybody celebrates this great Sunday
And don't forget,
morning.
Greek Easter is next week. And that, you know what that means? All the candy that's being sold for Easter, we can buy it for half price next week.
Absolutely, 50% off on Easter chocolates.
Thank you so much, Dr. Peter Michalos, and we'll talk again real soon.
Thanks for always getting the truth out on the Cats Roundtable.
This is Greg Kelly. Donate now to Toys for Tots, which works year-round. Go to toysfortots.org. Toys for Tots supports children in need throughout the year with programs like the Toys for Tots Literacy Program. Established in 2008, it has provided over 63 million books to disadvantaged children. The Toys for Tots Literacy Program is committed to providing disadvantaged children with direct access to books and educational resources that enhance their ability to read and communicate effectively. Go to toysfortots.org.